And we had, a huge story this week, Defo, which is that RFK Jr. came out and made a big announcement that he was going to announce his vice presidential pick. I believe it's next week or possibly in early 2 weeks from now, which, always smart to do it right in the middle of March Madness. People are going to take. But that one of his leading candidates, and perhaps his number one candidate, was one Aaron Rodgers. That's right. Throw Rogan, very possibly going to spend his New York Jets career playing approximately 3 plays, injuring himself, and then instead of playing football, running for vice president on a third-party ticket based on conspiracy theories and hating doctors.
Yes. When did they go this far? I don't even read about COVID.
A guy who, as we speak, I believe is on some psychedelic drug retreat somewhere outside of Mexico City.
Yes, literally was on a trip to his ayahuasca farm.
Yeah.
To when he found out that he was being considered for vice president by RFK Jr., which, again, I'm not going to lie about it, actually is like perfect synergy for the New York Jets in the quarterback position.
Yes.
I mean, after Joe Namath, if any position in football is going to be a giant flaming bag of dog shit on their front doorstep, it's the New York Jets and the quarterback. Whether it's Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble, or we're going to draft Ken O'Brien and then the next 6 quarterbacks taken are all going to be Hall of Famers, or the Richard Todd years.
Yes.
And for some reason he's going to be like a 12-year starter, despite the fact he's never good in any of them. Again, this would make Aaron Rodgers quitting football to be the vice president really a very suitable pick for the way quarterbacks have worked out.
Is it a less respected job than Jets quarterback? I mean, in light of the history of Jets quarterbacks past
it's certainly a less respected job than quarterback for like 30 NFL franchises. I'm not sure.
Where does Jay Fiedler fit into all of that?
He was a Dolphins quarterback. That's definitely more respected.
Well, he went to the Jets. I'll never forget.
At some point, I think he played with the Jets.
Yeah, he became a Jet.
I'll never forget. I literally forgot that he became a New
York. Well, I'll never forget it because I'm outside the stadium and the Dolphins are playing the Jets. Jay Fiedler had just recently gone there, and sure enough, in brand spanking new Fiedler Jet jerseys, here comes a wall of Jet fans, and they were all wearing Fiedler jerseys. And I'm thinking, oh my God! I mean, what a disgrace this is! What a come down this is from the usual tattered Joe Willie jersey to see the Jets celebrating the fact that Jay Fiedler might be their starting quarterback.
Anyway, but the point on the flip side is, let's just say that Throw Rogan has a couple of issues when it comes to
Throw Rogan.
Potentially being a vice presidential candidate, including, according to CNN, a report that came out this week, that a number of Aaron Rodgers confidants indicate that in private conversations, Aaron Rodgers claimed that Sandy Hook never happened and all the children were crisis actors.
I love that he's gone to that place.
That whole conspiracy theory really confuses the hell out of me, because when they say they're crisis actors, does that mean the kids that were there were actors and so it was all fake and they didn't get murdered? Or are they saying they're crisis actors and therefore it's okay to shoot all of them because everybody knows child actors are the worst?
Was this number 5?
I'm not sure what's
behind on the big board?
No, we're not behind. I'm
okay.
out that Throw Rogan has some flaws as a candidate potentially for a vice president, including, I'm not an anti-drugs person, but when the VP actively endorses the use of psychedelics, I'm not sure that's a great idea. I'm not sure it's great if Air Force 2 is just going to be loaded up with magic mushrooms.
How great would that be?
That would be the best.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Traveling like the Grateful Dead. I mean.
So all of that is by way of introducing the big board.
Yeah, here we go.
Who would be a better vice presidential pick than Throw Rogan?
All right, here we go.
And we're going to start with one who you may not know that well. I personally didn't know that well until about a week ago, and that is boxer Ryan Garcia.
Oh, dear.
For those who are unfamiliar, his most notable moment as a boxer was last year when he basically quit in the middle of with Gervonta Davis, which was supposed to be his breakthrough. He took a big liver shot.
Yes.
And then like a minute later fell down and stayed on his knees for the next 10 minutes. But that's not what I know him for, because over the last couple of weeks, over the last couple of weeks, he has been very interesting. For those who are unaware, Ryan, 2 weeks ago, he went on Twitter and claimed that billionaires had kidnapped him, held him prisoner at Bohemian Grove, and forced him to watch children being raped. Now, I don't know about you, but if you are a 24-year-old professional boxer and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are holding you down and forcing you to watch children be sexually assaulted, number one, I'm doubting your boxing skills. I mean, honestly, I can't think of a billionaire out there who I couldn't beat up.
Yes.
Like, I know Zuckerberg has been training in MMA with Bruce Lee's corpse or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Gates doesn't look like much.
if you're a professional boxer, I feel like you should be able to take Warren Buffett in a fight.
I would think, yeah.
If, you're a professional boxer and 5'2" Jeff Bezos is holding you down and forcing you to watch children be sexually assaulted, it's because you're kind of into that. Like,
Bezos is buff, though. Bezos has been working out. This chick hasn't worked.
He's buff, but he's Oompa Loompa sized.
He's not a boxer. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's
doing. Could be a bantamweight, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Garcia's a bit flaky, though. Didn't he announce that he was having a baby the same day he announced he was getting divorced?
Yes, and then the next day, after claiming this, he claimed that when he was 2 years old, the Bohemian Grove billionaires kidnapped him and had sexually assaulted him. This was followed by a few days later, him claiming that he had outsmarted the billionaires, and the billionaires from Bohemian Grove had taken to him a secret room where they showed him the Ark of the Covenant, which, okay, at this point, you're just taking heroin and watching Indiana Jones. Right?
Obviously, no more drugs for that man. That's it.
And secondly, if they showed you the Ark of the Covenant, why didn't they melt your face off? Isn't that the whole thing about the Ark of the Covenant?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit strange. Boxing dementia may be setting in very early for this poor kid.
All of this followed by just yesterday, where he came out and he announced that he has video proof of all his claims, but he's waiting for Congress to call him to testify before he will release it. Which,
Jake
by the way,
LaMotta may be before Congress first.
If he actually has proof of the Bohemian Grove billionaires having the Ark of the Covenant, Congress should absolutely call him to testify about it.
Where's Schumer when you need him?
Because I want to see this video of Bill Gates opening the thing and the face is melting.
Yeah. I think he's, I mean, even the World Boxing Council might want to look into this kid's mental state.
And even with all of this, he'd make a better vice president than Joe Rogan.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, all right. That's number 5, a good one.
Let me just say, when you are a multi-millionaire NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, and your parents don't want to talk to you, that's how much you suck. And Ryan Garcia is still a better VP pick.
You're wondering what's at the bottom of that family riff. All right, number 5, Ryan Garcia in there would make a better vice presidential candidate than Throw Rogan.
That takes us to number 4, which is, hey, look, we all know politicians lie. Why not go with a guy who has spent the last 40 years lying every time someone asks him a question? And we all know that RFK Jr.'s whole platform is, we hate fucking doctors. Doctors suck. They're trying to kill you. Well, then why not go with the man whose active plan is cancer makes you much, much stronger?
Yeah.
You get cancer and you become a much, much better athlete. You're sort of like dude who finished like 200th in the Tour de France. You get cancer and then you come back and you win like 19 of them in a row. That's my medical plan.
Is that Greg LeMond fuming in the background there or underneath that one side?
Doctors, you just need a little yellow piece of plastic around your wrist and cancer, and you will become a superhuman athlete. That is the new healthcare plan under our administration. Get cancer, wear the yellow wristband, become superhuman.
A real prince of a human being, too.
Oh, he's such a good
You can kind of deduce that from his various documentaries.
Anyway, but again, still, better pick than Joe Rogan.
Yeah. All right, number 4.
I mean, let's be honest. we really do want American politicians to sell us. And like when the world is about to end and Putin's got the nukes like actively fired up, we want someone who can bullshit with us. And America has spent like the last 30 years actively wanting to believe Lance Armstrong's ridiculous lies. So, in a way, it kind of fits.
Perfect. Yeah, no, he couldn't be a more appropriate candidate. And he's only number 4 on the list.
Number 3. It's that time of year, Christian Laettner. Why? Because for those of you who don't remember, back in 2016, Christian Laettner had to declare bankruptcy after he was sued by multiple investors, including Sean Merriman, who had lost $4 million in the deal, after he was found in court to have committed investment fraud as part of a real estate plan that went tits up, and Christian Laettner had to declare bankruptcy. So we've got bankruptcy, fraud, and hair that no normal man would want to have. That's worked as a winning formula in politics very recently. I mean, honestly, add in the fact that he's one of the biggest douchebags to ever walk the face of the planet. And that, based on the fact that the only man he's ever kicked during a basketball game was a black man, maybe a little racist.
Yes.
Like, I feel like if there's a natural successor to the Trump administration, it's Christian Laettner.
Very appropriate.
Much more so than Don and Eric the retarded albino and Jared, who may or may not actually be able to speak. If someone's going to follow in the footsteps, this may be the thing Christian Laettner was built for, since we know he clearly wasn't built to be in the NBA.
This is what he was built for.
That is perfect. I mean, I can't imagine anybody topping these last 3.
They're great.
Sensational. Christian Laettner.
He's not
the
wrong.
Trump Laettner ticket.
Perfect. He fits.
Yes. Perfect. I mean, I couldn't have hit this any more on the head here, Professor. All right, that's only number 3.
Takes us to number 2 again. And despite all of this, despite the fact that again he's not still a better pick than Joe Rogan, because at least Christian Laettner doesn't go on TV and accuse Jimmy Kimmel of being a pedophile.
True. Hasn't done that yet.
Just randomly. Oh my God.
For no particular reason. Just like, you made fun of me on your monologue, so you went to Epstein's Island a lot.
There you go.
Okay, good job, Aaron. Number 2.
Thanks, Aaron.
Just give me the facts. Number 2.
Because
there it is.
in the world, you have to deal with a lot of scumbags. You have to deal with a lot of nations that we find distasteful. And guess what? Phil Mickelson's already in business with all of them. And let's be honest, don't we want this in our vice president? Don't we want a guy who just
openly
for no
corrupt
reason dresses like he's on his way to a Tijuana donkey show, and does that socially for no reason? Don't we want a guy who looks like he has a collection of Girls Gone Wild videos, all of them, in his house to be the vice president? And it doesn't matter. Whatever you think the worst country on the world is, Phil Mickelson has tried to do an NFT deal with them in the last 2 or 3 years.
No doubt.
I think it's North Korea or Bahrain. It doesn't have to be Saudi Arabia, but let's be honest. Whoever the worst person in the Saudi government is, that's the guy who Phil's hanging out with.
Yes.
Phil's the dude.
He's way ahead of Rodman in this.
Yeah, I know Phil's the dude who's sitting with the prince and go, yeah, that fucking reporter was asking for it. Fuck him. Let's do some NFTs. So really, honestly.
Be good for the expansion of gambling, too, in the United States if he becomes VP.
Again, this is Phil Mickelson. We want to fix inflation. We want to fix the economy. Let's bet the future on the Rams for the Super Bowl.
Very nice. All right.
Again, look at him. That just screams.
The picture's perfect.
Dignity and vice presidential nature.
He looks so keen.
He looks like he's just made an under-the-table deal with Russian principal.
Again, yes. You want a man who can deal with Russians. It's Phil Mickelson, who dresses like them.
Some oligarch just walked away, and Phil owns his boat now. Yeah, that's great.
Again, Phil Mickelson, anytime you were with a Russian somewhere in a casino, playing craps, what did they have? Some fake-ass Versace shirt that looks like they bought in the subway for $40. despite the fact that they're worth $1 billion. I feel like Phil has a whole closet full of those shirts.
You couldn't have selected a better picture for this. All right, that's number 2. Phil Mickelson, number 1 on the list.
Number 1, and let's be honest, the RFK Jr. campaign is all about COVID, hatred of doctors, hatred of vaccines. That's the whole base of it, because RFK Jr. Has hated vaccines for like 30 years because he got one side of his face paralyzed when he got a bad vaccine years and years and years, long before anybody had heard the word COVID, long before RFK Jr., for those who don't remember, who wrote a book falsely accusing some black man of the rape and murder of Martha Moxley because he was so determined that it shouldn't be his twice convicted for the crime cousin that he just picked the only black guy in the school yearbook and said, he did it, he did it, he did it.
Jesus.
And to this day refuses to be interviewed about it.
Yeah.
So let's be honest. The whole basis of the RFK Jr. campaign is unifying the Alex Jones listening base.
Yes.
And making it president. And honestly, for that, respect throw Rogan, respect Aaron Rodgers. You have really solidified the whole anti-vaxxer thing.
Yes.
And honestly, you watch the Pat McAfee show, you watch that Sessions. If AJ Hawk had a bunch of vaccines, I don't want maybe my kid growing up to look like a hammerhead shark. I don't want the wide set eyes and 1,000-yard stare that tells me something might not be fully functioning. I could see maybe we ought to but there is a man who has been anti-vax before anti-vax was cool, who has been anti-doctor, and he's a professional athlete who's like, fuck those surgeon generals talking shit about cigarettes. My Marlboro Reds have vitamin C and shit.
Marlboro Reds.
Who already is campaigning in the political world because he already lost the election in Nashville twice for school board and is running again in 2024. I'm saying if there was a man built for a crazy person's vice presidential run, it is Jay freaking Cutler. Jay Cutler is 100% the man to be vice president on the RFK Jr. ticket. And let's remind you that Jay Cutler and his bitchy reality TV wife were anti-vax back when anti-vax just meant you wanted to give everybody measles.
Yes.
Like long before COVID, Jay Cutler was like, yes, I'm trying to bring the smallpox back.
Yes. Maybe even bubonic plague.
Like, fuck you, Aaron Rodgers. I was 10 years ago.
I was way ahead of this clown.
Get out of my fucking lane, Aaron. I've been smoking Camel no filters long before you were on that ayahuasca bullshit. My children have never seen a vaccine. You're stealing my fucking shtick.
How could JFK Jr. have blown it this badly? I mean, with a list of candidates of this level of quality and qualification, how could he possibly be looking at Aaron Rodgers? It's insane, Professor.
Yeah, I need to send him this list.
You need to send him this list immediately.
Perfect for him.
In fact, send it to Trump also, because he's still looking for a
both
candidate.
of them would love all these people.
Donald might consider all of these guys for the very reasons you laid out.
I'm just trying to help you out, Jets fans. I mean, I would rather see Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback than running for president. And I'm trying to help the Rodgers family, if I'm being honest, because I feel like as much as his family already hates him, as much as his mom is already like, yeah, he's a douchebag, I don't want to talk to him. Like, the VP thing's not going to help.
No.
He's going to
do a little to patch this up, yeah. It's only
and then really, Aaron, I want you to come back for being such a douchebag that your own mother doesn't want to talk to you, despite the fact that you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars and are one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. Because I really feel that's not saying anything good about you.
No.
As a human being, when you have your resume and your own mom doesn't want to talk.
Hardly the Kelsey family. All right, Professor, good stuff.